It was 3:30 p.m. on the 15th of April 2015, and 9-year-old Chloe Ansel had suddenly disappeared in the suburb of Calais. A man was seen kidnapping her, pushing her into a red Seat Toledo, believed to be with Belgium car registration tags. This is the story of Chloe Ansel. Chloe Ansel was born on the 4th of April 2006, making her 9 at the time of this story. She was a pupil enrolled in CE2 at Chateaubriand Primary School and was the oldest of 3 children in her family. She had 1 younger sister and 1 younger brother, and Chloe was described by her father, David Ansel, as a cheerful little girl, very courageous, who worked hard at school. She was very polite with her teachers and friends alike. Her mother, Isabel, described her daughter as an adorable little girl, always smiling, and she loved life. Chloe, who had previously attended a birthday party for one of her friends, was about to go to her dance class at 4 p.m. that day. Just before this story began, Chloe had been playing outside of her home with a water gun with her friends in the street. Chloe's mother was running around like mothers do. She was trying to change her younger 2 children and look for Chloe's dancing goods that she needed for her dance class. So she left the spot where she was sat watching Chloe from the window just for a few moments while she got these things done that she needed to do. They lived in a safe neighbourhood. Chloe often played outside with friends, and her mother, who usually watched from the window, felt that Chloe would be safe just outside the house for a few minutes. Little did she know that a man had been hanging around the neighbourhood watching the children play. While he stood there drinking alcohol, he had been watching for about 3 days at this point and had been hanging around near to the trash cans. Chloe Ansel had been spraying her water gun when she suddenly splashed this man who was stood there drinking from a can. The man grabbed Chloe by the hand. After threatening to take Chloe's life, saying, "I will kill you," and striking her head against the wall, a bystander, a man, tried to save her, to pull her away from him, but the suspect pushed him away and threatened to take him out too. She saw her daughter lying on the ground next to the bins before he grabbed her and pushed her into his car. Chloe's mother watched helplessly as this kidnapper drove off with her daughter inside. Within seconds, Isabel was screaming in horror as the man, she described only as bald and wearing sunglasses, suddenly grabbed her daughter, shoved her into the red car, and drove off. After the abduction, Chloe's ballet shoes were found near to the scene of her disappearance. Police arrived at the scene, although they did seem to take some time to get there. Chloe's mother was literally beside herself with worry. A search ensued, and a call for witnesses was launched via Facebook. Parents were divorced. David had to go to the police station to agree to trigger the Amber Alert, but it was already too late. Later that day, Chloe's naked body was found at around 5:15 in a forest. Chloe's body bore signs of SA, and there were marks around her neck as if she had been strangled, which were corroborated by the autopsy performed 2 days later. Police found a red vehicle with Polish number plates near to the scene, and its driver, a bald man, was reported to be heavily under the influence of alcohol and was arrested close to the scene. The suspect was of Polish nationality and was called Zabinski Humunski. Officers said he was planning to cross the channel from Calais to England, where his sister lived. He had been banned from France after serving time in prison for robbery, but had made it back to the country days before the abduction. He later admitted to having abducted and then SAing Chloe. The following day, he was indicted for abduction, RAPE, and forcible confinement and murder. Born in 1997, the 38-year-old man at the time, Polish worker, already known to police. After a difficult childhood which saw the divorce of his parents, he seemed to drop out of the education system. He then committed numerous thefts in Poland, including one in the year 2000 in Warsaw, and in 2015 supposedly served a year in prison. In the early 2000s, he left France, and in 2004 he was sentenced for armed robbery and illegal occupation of a home and then upon his return to Poland was sent to prison. Because of his criminal past, he was rejected from joining the Foreign Legion. In 2009, he then threatened a 9-year-old girl whose father described the suspect as someone bad, a predator, who observes and then acts. The girl later had to be treated for psychological trauma. On the 30th of March 2010, he was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment and banned from entering French territory for violent extortion, aggravated theft, and forcible confinement or attempted forcible confinement. Following several attacks, including one with a sharp instrument against an elderly woman, and during his trial he was described as intolerant of frustration, immature, lacking self-esteem. However, he remained in France, and at the end of his detention, ultimately shortened to 2 years, settled in Calais, where he lived for the next 15 years. In this regard, the victim's mother said that she did not understand why he was in France, but the Bourgogne prosecutor, Jean-Pierre, classified that the territory ban could not be applied to the suspect with regard to the offences for which he had been convicted there. Chloe's mother was said to have not stopped crying. She was dreading having to explain to the 2 younger children what had happened to their sister. "I don't know how I'll recover," she said. "Since that morning, I've started to realise that I'll never see Chloe again." France had been left in shock by the details of the little girl's kidnapping and death, with flags flying at half-mast in the port town and residents planning a march in her memory. On the 15th of May 2017, this alleged murderer hanged himself in his cell. His trial was scheduled for September of that year. With his death, the investigation into the case officially closed, but unfortunately, it will never be closed for Chloe Ansel's family and friends.